like, come on, Beetle. I'm okay with breaking stuff. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Gearhead 426 channel yet again. I think I'm actually doing a good job of keeping this all consistent, even though I've recorded the last 3 videos, including this one, in 2 days. Anyways, we're finally gonna go ahead and do this guy. This is my mechanical boost gauge that I went and I ordered, the glow shift. I've heard good and bad things about this guy. I've heard some people complain that it's like 1 pound off or whatever. I don't care, I'm okay with that, because this one that I have in here is complete garbage. The issue with this one is it's completely electrical, which ain't a bad thing, but this gauge just freaking sucks. I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear it right now, but like, there's something in there, and there's a spider trying to crawl up me. This gauge sucks. You can barely freaking see it at all whenever it's daytime, and it's very inaccurate. The way I have this thing set up is it does 2 different colors. It does red and blue, and you can change the color based on if your headlights are on and off. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that now. You see, I have my car on. It's on the blue, which you could barely even see, and we're in like overcast right now. I don't know if you guys could see it, but I can't. But if I turn my headlight on, it turns to red for nighttime, which I can see 10 times better during the day, but it still freaking sucks. The thing's very inaccurate. I mean, it's just like right now it's kind of accurate. I mean, it's 1 off, but I don't care. That's fine with me. But you'll just randomly be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go down to 15 inches of mercury, and it's like, wait, what? Why do you have 15 inches of vacuum? That's not right. And then I will literally change the switch, and it'll go back to what it's supposed to be. So it's really weird. I mean, it ain't the best by any means. I want to go ahead and do mechanical because I watched some videos of mechanical and they look pretty freaking cool, the way they work. Like, this is a smooth come on and come off. When I've seen mechanicals like do weird stuff, I think they're kind of cool. But I'm gonna go ahead and install one of those today. Thankfully, I already have most of the wiring figured out for this. I will say though, part of some of the issues might be that the wiring's a little janky. And what I mean by janky is I didn't solder everything, I just did butt connectors. What I will say though is it worked great for like 6 months to a year. I've had it for 3 years, and the last 2 years, like, it started to decline and now it's just really bad. And plus I can't see it, and it helps to tell me if my engine went into overboost or not. And it also helps to tell me if, hey, I need to back off the throttle because I'm over like X amount, so that, you know, I can continue to have my good fuel economy. Yeah, so all that good stuff. So what I need to go ahead and do is remove this, which ain't gonna take long at all. I think I have all the tools that I need. This panel has to come out and that panel has to come out. That one could stay. Like I said, thankfully I already have most of the wiring done, and what I mean by that is all the wiring in for here and there, and well, all that could be removed, but the wiring here is good to go. All I need to do is take this guy out, swap all the wiring to the new gauge, which I'm going to be soldering all of it and putting in heat shrink and all that kind of stuff, making sure it's a really good connection. I know right here isn't an issue. I can't even really do much here anyways. The other side, everything's gonna be ripped out, and we're gonna be replacing it with a silicone hose, which will hopefully reach, but if it doesn't, that's okay. Let's just go ahead and start pulling everything apart and getting it all done. And yes, I know I don't have a door panel. I don't care. I am gonna be making one of my own door panels though. These things, if you ever had a Volkswagen Beetle, like particularly Beetles, you know that these door panels just disintegrate, like completely disintegrate. So the gauge that I got, I'm pretty sure I showed you, but I didn't tell you. It's this glow shift 7 tint thing, and looks pretty cool. You can barely see it right now. I can actually see it pretty good. Being that it's mechanical, I should be able to see it 10 times better than a digital gauge. Let's go ahead and pull everything apart. Come on. There we go. Why was that a lot harder than it normally is? How funny would it be, or realistically how bad would it be for me, if I went to go ahead and do that and one of these busted loose and this smacked my windshield real hard and broke my windshield? That would really suck for me, but I imagine you guys would find it quite amusing. Okay, so normally, whenever you pull one of these out, this speaker right here will be attached. But these speakers are blown to hell, so I detached them because they were very, very, very annoying. Yeah, that's why that's not attached, but normally you'll have to attach it. And I want to know why this is, oh yeah, I know why that's like that. Well, that'd be a nah. So here's all my wiring, wherever it goes. That's right, it goes up underneath here. Let me take this guy out too. This guy's easy, you just pull right here. And it's out. Literally that easy. I will be doing this ground right here a lot better. Like I'll actually put a little ring on it instead of that, because that ain't good. Oh yeah, I forgot. This attaches right there, so we could get this out of the way. Look at that. That's now all out of the way. Hooray. Finally get rid of that crappy freaking gauge. And now I need to open up this panel. Okay, so this is me praying that nothing is living in here, because it will scare me. And I don't want that. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Oh yeah, I remember kind of how I put this thing in. It was a long time ago, okay? I kind of forgot, and I didn't do a video on it. So it's not like I could just go back and look at the video and be like, oh yeah, I did it this way. Which is also an advantage to actually putting a GoPro on your head whenever you're working on stuff, because then you remember how you did crap before. Of course, there's a whole bunch of junk in here. Now this is actually really good wire right here. I trust this wire. I've never had any issues with it ever. And thankfully this is gonna batch up to exactly what we already have, which is pretty sweet. I do need to go down below and completely detach this. So I just need to go ahead and start pulling stuff apart. So I'm gonna do that. Snip, snip here, to snip, snips there. And I believe I remember exactly how I did everything now. See, thankfully, I can just go ahead and read these, I think. Oh, I guess they don't tell me. Well, I guess I'll be looking up the wiring diagram to know what I did here. Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and pull this wire back on through. Ta-da! It's like, come on, Beetle. I'm okay with breaking stuff. All right, need to get another Torx to attach that, because that's what I also use as a ground wire for this guy, which was the map sensor, and I think this thing sucked. And I attached it to right here. I understand there are other ways to do this, but this actually worked really well. It's sealed, and I've never had any issues with it, so I think it's kind of a win. Look at how nice that install was. Ah, it just looks so good. And now, if I could just try not to hit any of those brand new hoses that I just put in place with this guy, that'd be great. All right, look at all that weight reduction, because I don't need any of that anymore. Race car life. I should totally gut the bug. I think I might gut the bug one day. One of these days, the bug gonna get gutted. I guess I'll just go ahead and route the hose. Now, you are supposed to go ahead and put this in line with one of these hoses right here, one of the positive boost pressure hoses, but there isn't one on this car. Everything's ran by vacuum except for what is in this system right here. So that's why I had to do it the way I did it. Hey, you know, this worked really good for many years, so it could have been that bad. I understand there's a much more proper way to do it. I'm aware of that. This was also like 19, 20-year-old me not giving a damn, so there's that too. We all know 19, 20-year-old selves do not help with the situation at all. And now finding a way to route this appropriately. That's gonna be really close, actually. Okay, so this is just gonna feed on through here. If I put a little bit of WD-40 or something on it, I think it'd go through a bit easier. All right, I think it's through. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go grab my vacuum and vacuum all that up, because that's pretty gross. Okay, so I've cleaned up a few things and whatnot. I had to go ahead and look at a few wiring diagrams and figure some stuff out and see how I did it last time. And now that I have it figured out, previous boost gauge called for a constant positive, but I managed to get away with that. But this one also calls for a constant positive. So I'm just gonna go ahead and run a whole new wire just for that. This is what I have right here. All the wires that I do have in there are hooked up to the headlight switch and the ignition, so everything comes on when it's supposed to, etc., but I don't have a constant positive. So what I did is I grabbed this wire right here, which is actually a wire off of my bare wiring harness for my Dakota. I had some problems with mine and I had to replace bits, so I went to pick a pole, grabbed a whole one, and I kind of pieced it out. And this was a wire for a four-wheel drive casing, which I don't need because I have a two-wheel drive truck. So I went and ran this wire. I got it going underneath the box so I can make it look all nice and whatnot. I'm gonna figure out which of these I need. I want to wire it inside of here just because it looks better. Like I'll probably do something like that actually, so that it's also part of the whole system. And you know, it just makes it much nicer and cleaner looking. That's what I'm gonna go ahead and do right here. But before I do that, I have to come into here and we got to solder all these connections. Now really what I just need to do is drill a hole in this panel right here, right around in this-ish area for my boost hose so it could come through, and this still is sealed in some kind of way. I ran the wire wires through it before, but if I try like through here, but if I try to do that with the boost hose or the pressure hose or whatever you want to call it, it will potentially kink it and I won't get the right kind of readings at all, if any at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my unibit, drill a hole through that while my soldering iron right here is plugged in and start heating up, so that I could go ahead and start soldering everything together in here. And then once everything is together in here, then we'll move out there, tighten everything up there. Then we'll go ahead and try it out, make sure everything works and see how it feels, etc. Yeah, you guys get the point. Okay, he's fucking distracting me. What the fuck was I grabbing? Unibit drill. Right, now I would put a garment on this, but it's not sharp and that's really thick, so screw it. I really want to pull this junk out of here. This just looks disgusting, but it's insulation, I guess. I don't know. You know what, fuck it, I'm taking it out. It looks freaking gross, it feels fucking gross. I don't like it, it's just gross. I think it's for noise cancellation or something, I don't know. It's falling apart. All right, this is drilled, which is good. This is broken, which I don't care. Like I said, I would put in a grommet, but I'm not going to, because I don't know, I think it'll be fine. I'll run the wire through there too, why not? Actually, screw it, let's just go ahead and put this part in place right now with this super hot soldering iron right in front of it, right? Is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. I don't like this game. And this is when I start hitting and breaking stuff. Don't you just love it when shit doesn't break and it does what it's supposed to? If you guys didn't hear earlier, which I don't know if you did, there's obviously something broken here and I don't know what it is. And I don't want to deal with it either. I normally do this sitting down and I usually have everything propped up, but kind of hard to frickin' do that. There we go. This is usually how I like to do stuff, just so it could drop right on my feet. That there is going to be a very strong connection that will not be letting go anytime soon. And I know you're supposed to have a heat gun for this part. Whatever. It'll be fine. Okay, so usual me, camera died, but it was probably a good thing because I was kind of in a sketchy spot with that hot ass iron and I didn't want to get burned and kind of had to put my head in weird spots to see certain things. So it was probably a good thing that I didn't have the camera on my head. Anyways, we have yet another kind of cleanish install, I guess. Here we have our hose going all the way up to our boost gauge, which is fine. I wish it was longer. And that looks freaking awesome. I'm not gonna go ahead and turn the car on completely yet, but if you go down here to this little button, you could actually change the colors, which also works out great because then you can figure out what you can see better. I can see this thing 10 times better than I was able to before. It'll go ahead and change the colors for you, or you could do it this way where it does it like soft and blends into each other. I'm not sure what it's called, but I like the blue. So I'm gonna leave it at the blue, and if you look, whenever I do this, it dims it. So that works out pretty awesome. And now we can go ahead and start the car. I really like the response on that. I feel like the response on that is actually better than the previous one. So let's go ahead and take this guy for a drive. Yeah, just that little bit was 15 pounds. Like if I'm gentle on it. Like this is normally how you want to drive this car so that you don't, you know, consume all your fuel. But this car will always hit like some kind of, you know, crazy PSI, usually around 10 pounds. It started leaking. I might have to put a clamp on it. I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and put a thicker, bigger, badder clamp on it because I think this little one that's on it ain't gonna do it. So it's been a little over a month since I've installed this gauge and I've been using it, and there are a few things that I don't like. There are a few issues with it. Now the actual gauge itself is freaking awesome, but the stuff that comes with the gauge sucks. The silicone hose that came with it is too big. That hose would work just fine if you were staying like under 10 PSI, which I could see how a lot of people that are running these gauges are probably under that. But if you're running anything over 10 psi, it's gonna leak like crazy right where it connects up to the back of the gauge because the hose barb ain't big enough. So what I did is I went from the 4mm silicone hose that came with it to a 10-foot long 3mm hose. I went with 10 feet because the 6-foot one wasn't long enough to go for where I needed it. Also, what I did too, and I'll go ahead and show you, I put on these style clamps right here. I wanted to go ahead and buy a whole bunch of these and whatnot because they're great. And I did put this T-fitting on with a little stopper right here because, as I said earlier in the video, I actually don't have a place to go ahead and tap into. All of these lines are vacuum except for right here, and this is supposed to be like inline. And right there's this little brass insert and whatnot that stops the gauge from fluttering. So I do have that piece in. And you know, as you can see, I have everything like crimped and all nicely done. And I also did the exact same thing right on the back of the gauge, if you can see that right there. So yeah, it's all done. I honestly, besides the hose issue, there's nothing wrong with this, and that was only like an extra 10 bucks maybe on Amazon and 2-day shipping. I did go ahead and try to put a hose clamp on those things, like the regular little screw kind. It just didn't work, and it cuts into the hose, and you have to put it so tight. You know, it's just not good for it. Okay guys, so that is my like one-ish more month review on this boost gauge and what I think needs to be done to it to make it better. So if you are purchasing one of these, make sure to go ahead and get like 10 foot, if you need that extra length, of 3mm silicone hose, and you'll be good to go. I just like to do those clamps because it kind of looks OEM, and they're pretty nice. They do the job really well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up. If you are stopping by for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I hope to see you guys again in the next video. See ya.